This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com. Let's talk about something that does make sense. Jerry Lawler is going to do an interview at a Comic-Con appearance, and he says there's a good possibility of Smackdown going live in January when it goes to the USA Network. And Meltzer would say there's at least been talk of starting out with a live special, and there's even been talk of the show moving to Tuesday and going live. It would increase costs somewhat, according to the Observer, and that kind of makes sense. He says live on Thursday wouldn't make as much sense as it would be a huge cost increase, plus be somewhat worse for talent. The office would have to fly out to a new city twice a week instead of once. And that's why if it does go live, Tuesday would seem to work best. If you look at live versus taped numbers for Raw, the few times a year it is taped, the occasional live SmackDown specials, not to mention the live TNA shows, and the ratings never show a difference. I'm curious what your take on that is. And I want to talk about it, I guess, from two different angles. One, I think a lot of folks listening to this maybe don't understand how grueling the schedule was for the company back then. Of course, in the pandemic era, things are a lot different, but I think the typical idea would be you would, get home on Wednesday and then you'd be home, Wednesday night, Thursday night, but then you're out somewhere working a show on Friday, a house show, and you'll work another house show Saturday, another house show Sunday. Then you've got a live Raw, then you've got a live SmackDown, but at least you've got 2 days at home, as crazy as that sounds, versus maybe the other way. If they had kept it on a Thursday, the talent would fly home on a Tuesday. They'd be home Tuesday night and maybe Wednesday night, but then back on the road on Thursday. It just feels like almost everyone and there's 2 tours here, by the way. There's the red crew and the blue crew. I don't know that the travel piece and how moving the trucks around and buying new flights for everyone, it made a lot of sense to go back to back on your production days. Did it not? Monday, Tuesday?
It's the only thing that makes any sense. You cannot send guys out. The only way that their schedule, the way they have it, is you have to tape SmackDown on Tuesday. You just have to. And then you got to give guys Wednesday and Thursday off. It's the only thing that works. So you start pulling, now think about this, you start pulling all those production people, back out to get them. They would have to go right back out on the Wednesday night to be there for Thursday. You have to go in a day early, and they're coming from all over the earth, to get there. It's a logistics nightmare if you don't go take Wednesday and Thursday off. It just is.
The other thing I want to mention is the attitude here that Dave says it doesn't really make a difference live versus tape as far as ratings. And I'm sure he's got that supported by all kinds of data. And maybe you weren't keeping those same kinds of records, but the audience, the feel, the show. Do you think live versus taped makes a big difference? Because I got to tell you, during the pandemic era, and I can only really there's been some WWE shows taped, but when I was watching AEW and it was taped, it didn't affect my enjoyment at all. But it does feel like, for whatever reason, certainly with crowds, I get that's different, that live is really always the preference. And I think it might even be the preference for Tony Khan. Why do you think that is? Does live versus tape matter in your opinion?
Well, I mean, if it's a live to tape show, it's going to come across as just being live. If you got an audience in there and they're reacting to everything, and as long as you're not chopping that show up so that the people that saw it live, then they see it when it airs and they go, well, I never saw that happen. That's not that big a deal to me. I don't think live to tape versus live, and it'll clean up some of the little glitches that you need to clean up that way. Here's the one issue in the era of social media. When you do a tape show, there are people that are sitting there tweeting about what's going on the tape show. So all the secrets get let out of the bag. Then it becomes a little bit of an issue as far as people ruin it for themselves when they start tweeting out, the finishes and angles and all that stuff that happened before the fact. Because it's a tape show, it loses a little bit of its luster.
Right. Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.